take on some risk
Mm-hmm.
with her moving out because you can't technically do a move-out inspection without. So there's gonna be some risk because all I can really look at is like the communal area, like the kitchen, bathroom, and your bedroom, right?
Yeah.
So, but as far as these floors go,
You will find that.
I did give the guy a call. That's why I ran outside. I gave the guy a call for how much this would cost because there's a lot of scratching there. And these floors were completely redone when you guys moved in. So this, to do this whole thing at my cost is $800.
When Dima moved in, they were redone.
No, but I did a move-in inspection, but basically right before she moved in, yeah.
When I came, there was, I don't know, there was already scratches and shit on the floors, so
So what you guys can do is you can talk amongst yourselves if you want to split it or whatever. That's going to be up to you guys.
This one though is not here before she moved in. This move-in of the fridge for sure.
So this scratches are definitely secondary to this is the primary issue, and in order to fix this you have to do the whole floors. But to be fair, it would be reasonable to pay for a portion of it if she didn't cause those scratches over there, because that is reasonable, right? It's not my job to mitigate between roommates and things like that. However, when there's any scratches on the floor, like even those scratches over there, the whole floor is going to have to be redone, unfortunately. What I can do, and I always do this, is I pass on all of my discounts to the tenants, because I get a lot of discounts from the trades and materials and things like that.
Will there be bills submitted? Invoices?
There will be bills submitted, and I appreciate you're trying to help, but you're not my tenant, so I actually, by law, I'm not
Okay, well, will there be bills submitted? I'll ask
I
them.
just answered the question,
Okay.
and the
just saying you
hostility
wanted
is not
to
going to
come-
fly with me.
I'm not being hostile.
You guys
I'm
are
just trying to
both,
be
since I
direct.
walked in, a little bit on edge, so I'm trying to be helpful, and yes,
I
I can give you guys a quote.
You-
The answer was yes.
So would you have to go through a lawyer or something, I guess? If I'm not able to talk to you, I don't understand how we
That's
can make
not
this work.
at all. That's a completely illogical conclusion. I'm not by law allowed to talk to somebody who's not my tenant about their tenants. There's privacy laws out there that restrict what I can do. This has nothing to do with me. I appreciate that you're not. Like I said, that I can't talk to you about the tenants. You can ask the same question he asked, and I'm gonna answer it just like I did with him. I can give you guys a quote, that's no problem. Absolutely, I'm more than happy to do that for the price of this. What I'm trying to say is, and I'm actually on your side a little bit here, if this indeed was caused by you, and this wasn't, then it would be reasonable to say, okay, we're gonna split it. It's gonna be $800, you're gonna pay 4, they'll pay 4, or 5 and 3, I don't know. I'm not trying to be difficult or anything like that. But I'm just trying to explain to you that you can talk to a lawyer if you want to. I'm not allowed to communicate anything about your tenancy to someone else, okay? So for upstairs, again, what I can do, I'll pay for the paint because I have these in 5-gallon tubs. The problem, what I was explaining to you, the problem is, and again, why I didn't want to explain it to him, because I just explained it to you downstairs. Don't roll your eyes at me, honey. I will walk so fast up this door. I don't have the time for it. I do move-out inspections. This month alone, I've got 5 move-out inspections. I do this all the time. This can be easy or hard. It's up to you. You have to figure out why this is on the wall, how that's being put on the wall, by the way.
This one?
Yeah, and if you guys want to take responsibility for that, that's fine with me. But like I said, I will pay for the paint because I have this paint in 5-gallon tubs. You cannot spot paint with the original color, and you cannot match with the. You cannot match.
That I know, yeah. Because if you paint one, you have to paint everything.
So you have to paint the walls, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So I will pay for the paint because I have it in a 5-gallon tub. That's no problem. If and my painter will do it at cost, and I will pass on all of those costs to you. At the end of the day, usually my painters cost less than you going and buying a rack and a roller and a tray and all of the tape and everything like that. At the end of the day, it gets done and you're moving anyway, so it's hard enough for you. I don't actually let tenants paint normally,
Okay.
and I'm not required to. But yeah, so all 4 walls have to be painted, unfortunately.
I don't know what to make them.
I don't actually
How
have.
much is that gonna cost?
I will call and ask him, but I will give you, I'll get a quote for you if you'd like, but he works for cash, so he doesn't like to give quotes, and that's how I get really, really good deals from him, but I will call him and ask him. But typically, if you call any company, it's $300 to $350. If you're calling just as a regular consumer, it's gonna be $350 an hour. I probably can get it done for $200, but I have to give him a call and ask him. But I just called the floor guy when Phil was walking in, so I didn't have a chance to call the painter, okay? all that information to you guys. As far as I can see, these are the only two issues that I see. Phil, since you're staying, there's a couple things I want to talk to you about that I'm just noticing.
Okay.
Is there anything else that you wanted to talk to me about?
I just wanna make sure, aside from my damage deposit, that I'm gonna get my pet deposit back in its entirety.
Yeah, well, it depends on, I don't know, okay, so that's another thing you guys have to work out with each other, because I don't know how much you paid me the pet deposit.
Yeah.
You will get that back. If the damage deposit covers what the damage is, then yes.
But like, that's separate from my pet deposit, because my walls, nothing to do with that. This, nothing to do with this.
So,
The floor has something to do with it.
well, let's just take that, like, let's go like start to finish. So I'm just using just random numbers, okay? So let's say you're paying $1,000 in rent and you have $500 in security deposit and $500 in pet deposit, okay? Yes, the act does say that pet deposits only get used for damage that pets cause. If you, let's say this is $800, just to use numbers. This is $800, but just to use numbers. If your pet deposit, if the damage comes to $800, then it's not a matter of only that $500 goes and gets applied to the damage and you get the $500 back. Because then the owner or the management company is out the $300, right? So what happens in that case is if you agree to, yes, take out the 800 and then I will return the 200 of your pet deposit.
2,000.
I don't know, and I'm using random numbers, like I said.
Sorry?
I don't know what you guys, and this is why I don't get involved with the deposits and things like that.
But my
Because
deposit just went directly to you, though.
that with pet deposit, yes, but I have to get an approval from you guys because I don't know how much everyone's paying for their rooms. Right? So I need to know more information. I need to make sure that from your deposit, whatever the deposit was for your room, that the cost of fixing this comes out of that. Whatever's extra will come out of your pet deposit.
Okay,
And then I'll return the remainder to you.
but I'm just a little bit confused. Like, we just stipulated that the pet deposit is only for like pet.
So in that scenario, right, let's say you caused $800 worth of damage, then you don't get to say, okay, well, I'm only gonna pay 500 of it and I want the remaining 500 back, right? Because you have to pay for the damage regardless.
Okay.
So what happens going down the road, what will happen is if you say, okay, I'm not gonna agree to pay the 800 and I'm gonna say I'm only gonna pay the 500 and I still want my pet deposit back, right? Then what will happen is everything stops. I apply for dispute resolution to the RTB. That costs me $100 to apply. In this case, and not in this case, in any case, what happens is as soon as there's a dispute resolution, everything stops. No deposit, no money, nothing moves from that point on. I just went through this for the first time in the 15 years I've been doing this. First time I've ever had an issue with the deposit. It took 11 months to have a hearing. So we had the hearing and it's been just under a month. We still haven't heard back, okay? So it's almost 12 months before we're even getting a resolution for it. Now, I know I'm gonna get the money because I have pictures, I can show the damage, it's easy, it's a straightforward case for me. Like, I know I'm gonna get the money. But what happens is that the money gets completely stopped and put on hold until there's a resolution, until there's the hearing, the adjudicator judges, okay? So at that point, they will say, yes, there was $800 in damages and the tenant is responsible for the damages they caused, right? What they are trying to do with that law by saying pet deposit is only for damages caused by pets is they're trying to make it so that actually, you know, I don't know why they say that. I mean, it makes sense that if you give a deposit for a particular reason, that it can be used for that particular reason. That makes sense to me. I don't try to pretend like people write laws. But I can just tell you, historically, this is how it works. So as soon as I apply, now on top of that, when I apply for the dispute resolution, that cost me $100. There's a checkbox that you check that says, would you like the money back for the dispute resolution? I check it saying yes. So now the $800 becomes $900. Okay, so moving forward, like I said, I don't know what the deposit was. Like, I don't know what you were paying for your room. So if that $800 is your deposit for the room, then this is a moot issue because, or whatever it is, like $800 plus let's say it's $400 plus the $200 for painting, then it's moot. Then it gets covered in that, and I return your damage deposit or your pet deposit.
Okay. So first things first, we have a price for this. I can get that written up. That's no problem. I work with him for like so many other things, and he's done this floor before, so he knows the price. I can get him to write up a quote if you'd like that. The second thing is I need to be able to call the painter and ask him, and I know the square footage of the room, so I can ask him what he would charge for that. And then you guys have to talk amongst yourselves, figure out how much, if that number is above and below, like if it's below what your deposit was, then great, you get the money back from Phil and you get their pet deposit from me. But I can't really answer the question as far as like whether you're gonna get pet deposit back from me. Does that make sense?
I guess not completely to me, but,
Well, if you have questions, I have no problem answering your questions.
yeah, I guess my questions just kind of remain, like, I know you kind of explained it, but I guess it just doesn't make sense to me. And,
It's one, so I'm gonna cut you off, so keep going.
this floor thing, that is something that we can be, like, obviously I don't want like the whole thing pinned on me, because this is a communal space.
This is what I'm saying is that like I think it's reasonable that you guys split the costs. I don't have a problem with that. I'm actually like I understand where you're coming from. This floor needs to be cleaned. Phil, this is one of the things I'm gonna talk to you about. This floor needs to be cleaned. The floor being this dirty is gonna cause damages in its own right, and then like the baseboards and stuff like that need to be cleaned.
Yeah.
But and I'm not trying to come in and tell people how to like live or clean their houses, but I know certain things that don't get done will eventually cause damage. What is going? I'm pointing this out to you. This is something you're going to be responsible for when you go. Is fixing that wall.
Are these,
Fixtures.
That said, though, actually, since we're painting that room, I can include that in the cost of painting the room. Because he's going to have the paint out, he can just do this like little section, and it'll be close enough. Because like I was saying, like, you can see how the colors here and here are different. You can't do spot patches, but you can paint the entire wall, right? So I can tell him that this needs to be done as well, and it's going to be in the same price as the room. But
Does that mean that we have to take this out
even if they want,
if we want to keep it?
if you want to keep it, then you're responsible for it. Then at the end,
Okay, so if we.
then she's paying for her room to be painted, and then she's off the hook. Then you guys are responsible for this, but then when you guys move out, if your room needs to be painted, then I can also include it in the price of that. Like, I'm not trying to like nickel and dime, I'm saying the paint's gonna be out, the roller's gonna be out. For him to come and paint this is not gonna be a big deal. If this is the only thing that needs to be painted, then just to to pay him to come out and fix it, there's gonna be a cost for that, right?
Okay.
But I'm assuming I haven't seen what your rooms are like.
Yeah, and we're not moving out yet anyways.
Yeah, so, but I'm just saying, like, that's gonna be your responsibility.
Okay.
So figure this out. Maybe if she
Okay.
pays like 500 or to 300 or something like that, like,
Mhm.
and this is all in. This is taxes included. He gives me the whole price. This is not gonna go up in price.
Before anything else, I'm just gonna use the bathroom because it really need to be.
Yeah.
if, I know you said you don't know like what like I'm paying and
You can tell me.
yeah, I was just gonna ask.
Yeah,
if we can
that's
just, like,
fine, yeah.
Try to figure it out a little bit.
Yeah.
So my rent is $350. My damage deposit was $725.
Rent is
$1350.
1350. I think you said 350. I was like, that seems
1350.
really reasonable. Okay, here, let me write things down. 1350 and then 725.
Well, yeah, I think that's. I think so.
So,
Anyways,
okay, so that's what I'm saying. So if he says, okay, we'll cover 400, which I'll talk to him, and I think that's not unreasonable, because this damage is bigger, that damage is less, but the thing is, regardless, either one of those would cause this whole thing to be redone. So charging half and half is reasonable, right? So, like, I think it's reasonable for him to pay 400 and you pay 400, right?
for me to pay and who, Phil?
Phil, or like the guys who are staying, like to split the cost of this by half and half. Instead of splitting it, they're 300 and 500. Does that make sense?
Why would it not be split 3 ways when there's 3 of us living in the house?
I didn't think about that. 3 ways makes sense. Yeah. No, sorry. I was just thinking the people who are staying in you. So splitting that three ways, so that's like 800 divided by 3. So 250, and then let me see if I can get him to paint upstairs for $200. And then that's out
So
of it.
you're like I'm not allowed to like hire somebody to paint if I can.
If you
only
hire
get
someone,
cheaper.
if it's a painter, first of all, the chances of you getting someone cheaper is going to be
But like
slim.
if I'm able to.
But try, yeah. The reason I don't let people paint is because I've just run into this so many times where people are like, oh, I can paint because they painted their mom's house one time or they painted somewhere one time and it's just shit. And ends up it ruins the floors, there's drips in the walls, like I've just run into it too many times where it's just a bad job. If you want to hire someone to do it and they're a legitimate painter and I can see evidence of them being a legitimate painter, I don't have a problem with that. But I still will offer you, to make sure that I can find good paint. But if not, I'm going to buy another 5-gallon tub because I just buy this paint in bulk anyway. So I'll still offer you, if you find someone that's cheaper, I'll still offer you the cost of the paint, like I'll pay for the paint, okay? Like I'm honestly not trying to be unreasonable, but I do need evidence that they are an actual painter, okay?
Okay.
Okay.
Do you need like a license? What do you need?
No, like, I mean, just like show that they're like, that this is what they do for a living, like they have like, there's ways for painters to show me that they're painters, right?
Okay.
Yeah. Upstairs, so that's upstairs, that's down here, I'm gonna cover that in the painting. This, so it sounds like it's all gonna come out of your damage deposit, in which case, 100% I'm happy to return your deposit.
Okay. Is that gonna be able to be, that's just like a, it's like a big chunk of money and like that is something like I could use in my life.
Totally, I can do that, I
So
can
I'm like wondering if
transfer
we
it.
could just like do that like sooner, cause I feel like.
Once this is all figured out, like I need to go, you need to give me a day or two to get him to give me a quote for this, like.
So once you get a quote and whatever, if you're getting a quote. and
Yeah,
getting a
I
quote
can
process.
e-transfer it, that's no problem, I get that you need the money, like everybody does, like, yeah, I can return that like super fast.
Okay, cool.
But this has to be resolved first, and you guys both have, you all three, sorry, because I'm just seeing 2 of you, that's why I was saying split in half. You all three have to figure this out, and then once you do, then I don't have anything to do with it. Like I said, like I try to stay out of this, but it is a good policy to have me come and do the move-in inspection. And they are taking risks when you move out, that like the stuff in the living room and whatever that I can't see is gonna be, not covered, but that's that's part and parcel of living in a roommate situation. Okay.
Oh,
Do you want to talk to
I
me
want
first? or do
I
you
want to talk to you about upstairs, just a couple things upstairs, but I don't want to rush you. Like, is there anything else that you want? Like, you can ask me as many questions as you want. Like, I don't have a problem with like.
Do you want to sit down for a bit and talk to Zoe, or?
I can run you upstairs and then just tell you a couple things. You guys can talk to each other if you want.
Yeah, I'm just gonna figure out my next move, with my brother, in terms of getting the couch and stuff out,
Okay.
and then.
And that's the other thing too, is that like technically I'm not supposed to do the damage, the move-out inspection until she's completely gone. So as far as cleaning goes and things like that, that's on me. So I saw them sweeping, so it looks
Yeah.
good. It looks,
Yeah.